doing a lot of computer programming, building software for as far as I could see into the future. And I'm one of those people that's real comfortable with that notion. And most of you all probably started your IT careers in much the same way. Why do you think I was attracted to programming computers? Computers, for me, were easier to talk to, easier to predict than people. And consequently, I took a lot of my time, effort, energies in developing the ability to talk effectively to computers, and consequently didn't develop as effectively those skills in dealing with people. It wasn't until much later in life that I began to understand that that was probably more important, that I learned the people and relationship building skills than the technical skills. But the point is that for a lot of IT people, their strength has to do with dealing with computers, which means, consequently, that they are weaker than their business counterparts in dealing with people, i.e., there's a deficit here. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to fill in the deficit. So if we teach our IT managers how to be more effective in building relationships, those relationships are the beginning, the start point, if you will, of ongoing basis for continued business. Increased communications between them and their customers. Okay, and as you have a better understanding of the customer, you're going to have a better understanding of the customer's needs and how to fill those needs. So by improving the ability to build relationships, what you're actually doing is cultivating more business. Okay? And how does this improve customer satisfaction? Well, as you build relationships with your customers, they're going to better understand you. And how IT works. Okay, and as they do that, as they increase their understanding of you, they're going to appreciate you more. They're going to appreciate the work that you do, and they're going to be happier customers because they're going to see the value in producing those solutions that they might not otherwise have seen. So let's look at the next. The next course here is similar in impact to the previous one, dealing with ambiguity. The most unambiguous anything on this planet that I can think of are computers. People who are very good at dealing with computers, again, are probably not very comfortable with dealing with ambiguity. But in a business environment that's dominated by humans, you've got to deal with ambiguity because humans are ambiguous creatures. Human communication is fraught with ambiguities. So it makes sense to spend some time to acquaint IT professionals with skills that they may not have accumulated to this point in dealing with ambiguity. It causes them to be more effective communicators. It causes them to be more understanding of their customers and give their customers time to be more understanding of them. So consequently, when you teach IT managers how to be better with dealing with ambiguity, that's going to result in improved communications and, again, understanding of customer needs. which of course will result in an increased ability to make recommendations and to work with the customer to come to the agreement on new projects, and in your case, new funding. As far as customer satisfaction, the same thing. As this happens, this is going to result in happier customers that appreciate what you're doing, both because they understand it better and they understand the amount of work that goes into doing that. The next one here, negotiation. Let's teach IT managers about negotiating. Why is that going to help us? Well, I don't think I stretch it much by saying that it wouldn't be uncommon to find somebody in IT who has the concept of negotiation being something like, I put my best deal on the table, and then it's a matter of bluffing for you to figure out whether or not that's my best and final offer as I start to walk away from the table. I mean, it's almost like you can envision somebody doing this when they go to buy a used car in a used car lot. Well, that's my best offer. If you can't counter that with anything better, I'm out of here. And as you head for the door, you're hoping the guy's going to go, wait, come back. Maybe we can do better. That's hardly what negotiation in a business environment is all about. In a corporate business environment, negotiation has to do with figuring out what is the range that your customer can afford, and in what areas in terms of time, money, approval processes, and what is it that you require from your end, and how can the two flex. For example, a customer comes to you and he says, okay, here's my requirement for a system. And he says, I want it to do this. And of course, it requires you interviewing him and doing good requirements analysis. But after going through that process, you identify a set of specifications, requirements, and features. Okay? These would be specifications, requirements, and features. And so you take this back now to your IT shop, and you go through your estimation process, whatever, and you come up with a bottom line here, and you say, all right, well, this is going to cost $2.5 million to produce this project. So you take this number back to the customer, and you say it's going to cost $2.5 million to produce this project, and the customer goes, I don't have $2.5 million. All we got's $1.5 million. That's about what we budgeted for this thing. Well, if you don't have good negotiation skills, what you may do at this point, and what commonly is done by IT people at this point who don't have good negotiation skills, is to say, well, that's what it costs us to do it. We can't do it for any less than that, or we're going to lose money. So I guess you'll have to wait till next year when you can find more money to do this project. And they walk away from the table, and the customer can't do anything. I mean, the customer's probably telling you the truth. He's got $1.5 million that he can allocate toward this sort of function, and so he might, at that point, call EDS or IBM Global Services and say, what could you guys do for $1.5 million? This is what we need done. Okay, so what real negotiation looks like here, though, in the IT world, and really in any business environment, corporate business environment, where the two parties are not adversaries, but they need to be working together to a solution, is the IT person goes back and says, all right, well, this feature right here, let me tell you, this is going to cost us so much time, blah, 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 blah. By the time we put salaries, overhead, et cetera in there, this particular feature is costing us $150,000 to develop. This particular feature is costing us $50,000 to develop. This particular feature is costing us $25,000 to develop. This one over here is